Welcome to Let Your Light Shine, the podcast where we illuminate the path to your best self. I'm your host, John Louis Hardrick, and I'm so excited to have you join us on this journey of empowerment and self-discovery. Today, and in each episode, we'll dive deep into the themes inspired by the book, Let Your Light Shine, Unleashing Your Inner Glow through essential self-care practices for empowered women. This podcast is for anyone seeking to cultivate their inner glow, embrace their power, and truly let their light shine. In our conversations, we'll explore different topics that resonate with women and girls from all walks of life. We'll discuss the SHINE method, practical and transformative self-care practices like sleep, proper hydration, tuning into our intuition, and nourishing our bodies while remaining fully engaged. But that's not all. We'll also delve into cultivating joy through hobbies, practicing grace, forgiveness, and engaging in activities that make our souls light up. Each episode features incredible women who share their stories, wisdoms, and insights. They're entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals, mothers, daughters, all shining examples of how embracing these practices can lead to a fulfilled and empowered life. So whether you're looking to ignite a new spark in your life or fan the flames of an existing one, Let Your Light Shine is here to guide and inspire you. Remember, for more resources and information, you can always visit lightshinebook.com. Let's get started and explore together how we can all let our light shine brighter. Join me, John Louis Hardrick, in this empowering journey. Here's to letting our lights shine together. And now, let's dive in to today's episode. So now let's talk about how you let your light shine. So shine is sleep, hydrate, intuit, nourish, and engage. Let's talk about sleep. How do you maximize your sleep so you can have deep restorative sleep as much as possible?
I took this course on Mind Valley called The Mastery of Sleep. I did this when I was looking at my habits and the things that I wanted to change because I was really in the point in my life where I wanted to make self-care a priority for me. And I knew I needed some help there because my sleep was all over the place and I kept feeling tired constantly. And I'm like, what is going on? What changes can I make so that I feel better throughout the day and I have more energy? And so this is one of the courses that I took, and it walks you through the entire process of identifying like your sleep pattern because everyone has a different like ways that they're wired, and so he creates this sleep plan specifically dedicated for you. And so for me, one of the things that he recommends is an hour before bed, not doing it, not using any electronics because the blue light affects your sleep. And then he also suggested doing journaling before bed because you practice gratitude instead of worrying, which can be one of the things that keeps us up at night. We're tossing and turning. We're thinking, oh my God, I got this to do tomorrow. I got that to do tomorrow. Did I do this? I don't remember to do that. You know? And we're having all these thoughts instead, putting our focus on what we're thankful for. I also added in a success list at the end of the night because I want to make sure that I note the good things that the things that went well throughout the day and the things I was able to accomplish, because that's where I want to end my day on. Because I've noticed in the past that I've had the tendency to be one of those people that lay in bed and think about the things I need to do or what didn't go right. And I really want to make sure I'm shifting my focus so that I can sleep better. Also, room temperature is important. So I sleep at about 68, 70 degrees. So I like it cold. I like a lot of blankets. But yeah, so that's just a few of the things that I do. I try to make sure that the kids have a solid bed routine because I notice that they sleep better as well, and they're less likely to come and interrupt my sleep. So yeah, so that's one of the things that I do. And then also for my I wanna say the word is chronotype. I think that's what he called it in the book, is a chronotype. So for my chronotype, my cutoff time is 11:15 to get up at 6 o'clock, and he recommends that as soon as I get out of the bed, that I do some form of physical activity, even if it's just doing push-ups right next to my bed. Because with my chronotype, what I tend to do is lay in bed and I'm like, "Oh, I don't wanna get up. Oh, I'm still so good," and I just lay there. But if I make myself get up and do some type of physical activity, it gets me pumped. So that's one of the things I do, and then I start my morning routine, which in meditating and affirmations.
Excellent. So yeah, so we have a meditation. We have one for gratitude and one for energy. So the gratitude one is a great one to do at night, right? Like you're talking about to wind down, and even if you don't make the physical list in your mind, you're making the mental list of all the things you're grateful for. We have a journal, right, that accompanies the book, so you can write in your journal that night. And then the energy one is a great one to do in the morning to get you going, especially like for us with young kids, and we're like, we had a rough night with the kids. You can do everything perfectly and have all the routines, but the kid is sick or has a rough night, it's over. Right? That night, it's not going to be the best night's sleep. So we always want people to recognize this is not about being perfect. This is about, again, creating routines and things that will assist you to maximize your self care. So those are some great tips. So thanks for that. Someone else brought up the chronotypes too, because she did the same. She read the book and really figuring out what your tendencies are so that you are maximizing what you're already inclined to do is a great tip for self care, right? Like I hate running. So if you tell me run a marathon for self care, that's a big hill to climb. But I love walking. I will walk all day. I'm a New Yorker. I grew up walking. And so I can always find a way to incorporate that. Go with your tendencies. So let's talk about hydration. We're gonna hydrate. I got my cup here, hydrating during the podcast. What do you do to hydrate?
Well, I actually could do better at hydration. This is one of the areas I need to work on, or at least stay consistent with. So I do have a really big bottle that I use. I got it from Amazon and it has the different, like it has times on it that you should drink and you want to finish. That's what I incorporate to make sure that I am keeping my hydrated. Yeah, I took another course. So I'm really big into personal development. So I'll probably mention several courses that I've taken over the years. But one of them was the immunity course, and it's also on Mind Valley. It's blueprint, the immunity blueprint course. And he talks a lot about hydration in there. And that's what started me on the hydration journey because I kept getting sick. And I thought, okay, oh, it's the kids and they have so many germs and all this and that. And so I'm like, okay, I need to build up my immune system. What can I do? And it brought me to that course. And he talks about making sure that keep ourselves hydrated. In addition to that, I try to get 15 minutes of sunlight and incorporate exercise. And I know we'll talk about each one of these steps, but that's just one of a few of the things that he talks about in that course. And another one is breath work. So he talks about the 5-5-5 breathing method, where you breathe for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, and then you exhale for 5 seconds. And you do that 5 times a day. And he talked about how important breath work is because we have a tendency to breathe very shallow. And so incorporating that breathing, it helps to lower your stress level. It helps you to think clearer as well. So yeah, those are just some of the things that in addition to my hydration.
Hydrating looks at a lot of different ways, right? Yes, having the water bottle that tends to help, especially me, because I'm like I will go hours, and if it's because I don't think of it, but if I see the thing, I was like, I'll just grab it and drink it. And then some of our other podcast guests have said, listen, you don't need to get fancy, right? Buy a basic thing. See what works for you. You might have to try different ones. There's the metal ones. There's the plastic ones. There's a straw. It's not a straw. Just find what works for you. Adding flavors. Do you like any flavors in your water?
I don't.
Oh, you just plain water.
Deep water. The kids love it though, and they get mad at me because they're like, why don't you buy juices and get us like," so they start getting these little juice packs flavor packs that they put in their water, but I just like straight water.
Yeah, yeah. You just whatever works for you. I like to put a little Himalayan pink sea salt because that helps you from having to pee all the time.
Oh.
But it also, believe it or not, it makes it taste fresher. It's weird. You don't taste the salt, it just tastes fresher. So something to try. And yeah, and like you said, sometimes hydration is again, you got to reduce the friction. That's a lot of what we're trying to tell you. Make it easier. If you drink a lot of coffee, tea, things that dehydrate you, then you got to be careful. And then so you're getting on to all this other stuff, the nourishment and the engagement. So let's get there. How do you nourish your body and your soul? Especially with kids, right? They want chicken nuggets and fries. And we're all we're all trying to nourish our bodies. And always end up eating those things, even though I don't want to, because it's like the kids, it's just all over the house. So what are your tips there?
So my tips there, I have a whole journey with nutrition. It's
Yeah,
after
girl, we want to hear it.
yeah, so after
You want to
pregnancy
hear?
oh, I'm sorry. After, each pregnancy, I gain a lot of weight during my pregnancies. I always do these diets, and then I'll lose the weight, and then I'll go back to eating like I was eating before. And with my middle child, I got the weight off, but I did different methods. So I did the shred diet by Dr. Ian Smith, where he has you eat 6 times per day. And it was just normal foods that I would eat day to day, but they were portion size, and then there was more fruits and vegetables added to it. After I got the weight off, I still had a little bit left, so I was maybe about 5 pounds away from my goal. So I decided that I would juice. I would just do this juice diet, and it was nothing but fruits and vegetables. And then I incorporated some yoga at the same time, hot yoga, in fact. And I noticed I felt absolutely amazing. I had so much energy and I loved it. And then I got the 5 pounds off, and then I started eating meat again and going back to my regular diet. And I noticed I started feeling heavy and a little sluggish. And I'm like, oh my God, there's something here. And so I decided that I would change my diet to a vegetarian diet. And I did that for a little bit. Then I decided to just go all vegan. And I did that for maybe about 6 years, 7 years. My youngest son was a vegan for the first 3 years of his life. My husband even became one as well. We just incorporated it in the household, and I loved it. I had more energy. I felt great. Yeah. So that's been my journey with nutrition. And sometimes I'll go back to doing like a juice cleanse. I just recently did a detox where I used some herbs in addition to juicing and just fruits and vegetables. And I do that occasionally just to reset my body. And I'm pescatarian now. I don't do chicken, just my own personal preference because I know that my body feels different. So I guess my advice would be to pay attention to your body and how it feels. And I think we don't do that enough. Like we don't really always connect with our bodies and see how is my body feeling. Because for me, when I eat chicken or if I'm eating beef or anything that takes longer for the digestive system to break down, I feel it. And I don't know if it's because maybe I meditate and I am really in tune with my body, so I feel more of what's going on or I'm more conscious of it. But I would definitely recommend just paying attention to your body, what feels good to you, what gives you energy, and incorporating more of those things.
That's a great point. What gives you energy? Because a lot of times we eat food that makes us really tired. And yes, digestion takes a lot of energy, but food is supposed to fuel us. So we shouldn't feel tired all day. As I think, especially in American culture, we indulge all the time. And then when holidays come, we indulge even more. And so the breaks are really important, like you said. I did veganism for 3 months, really to see if there was going to be a difference with my body. And that didn't work for me. I do better with lower carb and lean protein, just because beans, whole grains, as much as they say it's good for you, I can't digest them. They just cause problems. And veganism wasn't going to work for me, but we encourage you to just try different things. And as your body changes due to pregnancy, age, recovering from different conditions and illnesses, it will also change some more. So I think your message is great. What you have to do is to listen to it. Drown out all the noise of what other people are saying is best and everything. You can try a few things, but then really listen to your body and say, do you feel nourished?
Yeah.
If the answer is no, time to try something else. Let's
You're
talk about engagement. Oh, go ahead.
doing you did the, I think it was the vegan diet for the 3 months, and I think you were doing something else too because you were telling me about it, and you looked amazing. I was like, "Okay, Mama."
Yeah, I was doing the red diet. I forgot what it's called, but it was basically very low carb. And because I had a lot of people put on 20 pounds during COVID, just sitting around all day. They didn't want you going outside. I was drinking a lot of wine and junk food, and it caught up with me. So I said, okay, let me do this very strict diet just to lose this extra weight that I put on during COVID. And then I did. And then, of course, I got pregnant.
I'm not I know why. I could see like, "Okay."
And
That's
then
that's I know he was like, "I can't keep my hands off."
I know I'm looking good, honey. And
Right.
then
You,
so
but
I had no wine during that time. So I was so excited. This is so funny. I was excited. I was having a wine tasting because I'm like, I met my goal. I have a wine tasting. It's going to be a celebration. And girl, I found out pregnant the day before the wine tasting. So I could even enjoy my wine. I'm over here pretending to. It was so funny. And I was so like, man, I wish I just. Anyway, but yeah, my baby girl's here and she's my little miracle baby, as I like to say. Because I think I shared in the book my journey. I thought I couldn't get pregnant. 8 years, never got pregnant, never used any birth control, and then she just came out of nowhere. So sometimes when you change your diet too, that can just trigger things in your body to activate that have been inactive for a while. So you never know. But I am a firm believer that what we eat really impacts not just how our bodies look, but how they feel, how our brain operates. And so it's really important that we get in touch with it and tune out all the noise about looking a certain way and being bikini ready. And even within veganism, I was watching a lot of videos and sometimes I felt, okay, I'll get coming all of those strong with this and we except that maybe this works for some people and not others. And so you have to be careful not to get too caught up in other people's opinions about what you're eating.
absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. And then be flexible like you. Some people, it's like, once a vegan, always a vegan. So once you realize it's not working for you anymore, or your body tells you you need something a little different, be open to that. So now let's talk about engagement. So you talked about nature walks earlier. You talked about breath work. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, excuse me. Sorry, girl.
That's okay.
But yeah, I ask for engagement. Like I mentioned before, I practice a lot of mindfulness, and I think that being in nature really helps me to ground me. I spend so much time in the house, working from home, and it's so important to get out and get some sunlight, fresh air, and I just noticed that it grounds when I get out into nature. As far as breath work, it actually does the same thing. Like all these mindfulness practices that focus on engaging and being present in the moment are really grounding and nourishing for my mental health. So it's definitely something that I incorporate. Now, can I ask you a question? As far as does this also mean social interactions as well?
Yeah. However you engage with the world and we start with exercise and movement, but any form of engagement. Yeah.
Okay. I also like to make sure that I nurture my social relationship. Relationships are very important, and I know how important it is to have some type of balance as well. A lot of my time is spent with the children, and doing the day to day activities, and making sure that they're taken care of. But also, I like to get out and have fun and fix myself up and look beautiful and hang with my girlfriends. And so that social engagement is so important. And in addition to just the hanging out part, I do also like to get out and take courses or workshops and network. I love doing like business networking luncheons, seminars. I love meeting people and engaging with others. I think that social interaction is also very vital to our mental health as well, because I saw a study that mentioned that a lot of people in the US suffer from loneliness and how it can be detrimental to our health, not having those social engagement or positive relationships with others. And so I definitely make it a point to make sure that I'm constantly engaging and connecting with others and also with the world outside of me.
Yes, that's really important to have sister circle, like for women, but talk about the red tent, which was an ancient kind of practice in a lot of cultures where women were on their cycle, they'd go to the red tent, right? That's where you would hang out. But then there was all these rituals. There was streaming, there was talking, there was building each other up. There's other rituals where women would get together to prepare food as a group, or they'd all get together and everyone watches their kids. Like that takes a village mindset, which in the US has been lost. And so we're trying to gather that back up because we're not really meant to do this stuff alone.
We're not. We're definitely not. And a lot of us, we move away from home. We're all spread out. We don't have the same community that we had before. I know a lot of people had the nuclear family where the grandmother was there and the aunts and uncles, everybody lived close to one another. And some people still do have that, but that community and village aspect is so important. And the red tent ritual, oh my God, that sounds amazing because it's something about being around other women and being able to pour into one another and support one another, and it's so nourishing to receive that feminine energy from the women around you. I feel like I learn a lot from the women around me, especially even you. Like I love that you're my sister-in-law. I do. You're like so inspirational and you've always been such a great example. And I think as women, we do such a really good job when we are connected within ourselves and we're practicing self love. We do a great job pouring into other women and uplifting each other and supporting and loving each other. And you do that for me. And you're doing it for other women now with this book. And so I this is so important, this community aspect, supporting one another, pouring into one another. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's so sweet of you. Thank you. And you inspire me as well. It's so interesting too. We didn't really get to know each other until my brother passed because there's so much going on. You're in a different state and we're trying to give you guys space to deal with his illness and everything. But it is important. And I'm realizing as you get older, you really have to foster it. Because, like you said, we're moving away from each other. And even if it's just that one text a month of staying connected, and then when we're in the same town, we just get together and reconnect, pick up where we left off. So really important. Tell us where we can find you, Erica. What to expect for the Zen Single Mom podcast? How do we listen into that? Real estate, if somebody wants some property out there in Atlanta, Georgia area, tell the audience how they can find you.
Sure. So you can find me on all social media platforms at the Zen Single Mom. The podcast is available on all major streaming platforms as well. I can be found on Instagram at Erica Herndon. You can also connect there. And my website is thezensinglemom.com. Make sure you visit it. We have different resources. We have blog posts available with additional tips from the episodes that we discussed and different resources there. And yeah, and definitely tune into the podcast. It's very inspirational. It's a safe place, supportive place for single mothers to come and connect and fill up your own cup. So make sure you're tuning in on a regular basis so you can fill up your cup. So, yeah,
Yeah, I am subscribed. And remember, you sent me your first episode. I was like, this was awesome. And I've done some of the meditation. So even if you're not a single mom, ladies, listen in, tune in, share it with your friends because somebody was a single. Share it widely, follow the meditations, and we will see you next time on the Let Your Light Shine podcast.
awesome. Thank you for having me, Jocelyn.
Thank you for stopping by. As we come to the close of another enlightening episode of Let Your Light Shine, I want to thank you sincerely for joining us today. It's been a true joy and privilege to share this space with you and our inspiring guest. Before we part ways, I'd like to leave you with a small nugget of wisdom to carry with you. Remember, the light you hold within is a beacon of hope, strength, and beauty. It's uniquely yours, and when you let it shine, you not only illuminate your own path, but also light the path of others. If you've been inspired by our conversation today, I encourage you to explore more at lightshinebook.com, where you can find additional resources and support on your journey to unleashing your inner glow. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with someone who might also benefit from its message. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode of Let Your Light Shine. As we say goodbye for now, remember that every day is an opportunity to embrace your power, cultivate joy, and most importantly, let your light shine. Until next time, I'm Jocelyn Jean-Louis Hardrick, wishing you peace, love, and light. Thank you for listening, and keep shining bright.